Now, let's move on into another area of chaplaincy. It's an area of chaplaincy that I know very well. Not only I served in the armed forces, but I also served as a chaplain for the Navy. Do we need chaplains in the military? In the Desire of Ages, page 770, it says, in the closing events of the crucifixion day, fresh evidence was given of the fulfillment of prophecy, a new witness borne to Christ's divinity. When the darkness had lifted from the cross, and the Savior's dying cry had been uttered, immediately another voice was heard saying, truly, truly, this was the Son of God. Matthew 27:54. The words were said in no whispered tones. All eyes were turned to see whence they came, who had spoken them. It was the centurion, the Roman soldier, the divine patience of the Savior, and his sudden death, with the cry of victory upon his lips, had impressed this man. He could not refrain from confessing his faith. Thus again, evidence was given that our Redeemer was to see the travail of his soul. Upon the very day of his death, 3 men, different widely from one another, had declared the faith. The commander of the Roman guard, the one that carried the cross of the Savior, and the thief that was crucified next to him. So here we have prison ministries, and we also have here military ministry. So what do you think? Do we need chaplains in the military? Well, let me share with you about chaplaincy and the military. After almost 30 years of ministry and chaplaincy in the military, I can tell you that the military cannot function without chaplains. Not only that, the military, especially in the country where I served, they will not put a unit together, organize a unit without a chaplain. How many times I went into the pier to board an aircraft carrier, for example. And when you go into the pier, there is parking for the sailors. And there are usually 3 spots that are reserved for special people, not only special, but people that are key to the good functioning of that ship, of that aircraft carrier. One says commanding officer. The next one says deputy commander. And the third one says, you guessed it, command chaplain. That is how important it is for the military to have a chaplain with them. A friend of mine tells me the story that he was deployed in one of our carriers. And this was in one of the different military programs that we had, or military advances that we had in a country outside the United States. He was in the carrier and he was getting ready to leave. He was getting ready to go back home for some relaxation. And as he was packing in his room, he heard a knock at the door. When he opened that door, he saw a young man, a Marine, a soldier that came in and said, "Sir, the captain, the skipper as we call it, wants to see you." The chaplain went up the stairs to the bridge. That is where you command the ship. When he came into the bridge, he found the captain, and next to him was a Marine colonel. And the captain said, "Chaplain, the colonel here wants to speak with you." The colonel began to tell them the story. He said, I have my Marines in country. They were close to the coast of a country. My Marines are there, and we have a problem. The problem is that our chaplain had a nervous breakdown. We found him crying under a tree, and we cannot use him anymore. So we have taken him out of the combat zone. And my Marines are saying that they will not fight without a chaplain. See how important it is? And then he said, I need a chaplain. Will you be willing to come? The chaplain said, of course I will, but I don't have Marine uniform. I don't have the bulletproof vest that I need, boots and my helmet. And the colonel looked at him and said, do not worry about that. I have taken care of it. You have? Yeah. So he went back to his room, and when he came in, there he was, the Marine young man waiting for him with a uniform of his size, flak jacket, the Kevlar or the helmet, and the boots. Everything ready for him. That's how important it is for them, for the military. And you have beautiful ministry that takes place there. I remember one of my last assignments was with a unit where we process people that were going out to a conflict and coming back. The unit was only about 37 members, but there was a chaplain assigned. And by the way, my rank was the same rank as the commanding officer of the unit. And my job was to prepare the people to go into a combat zone. I wasn't prepared them to kill. I was not prepared them to fight. That was not my job. My job was to work with them and help them understand the importance of peace, love, and guarding their hearts. Every Saturday morning, before they went out to the buses that will take them to the planes, to take them to the area of combat, my job was to provide a devotional for them. In that devotional, many times, that was the last time they heard a sermon, a Bible verse, before many of them died in combat. That was my mission. My mission also was to help them reach into their spiritual resources when they have to face someone that is dead. That was my job. My job also was to support the commander. I remember one of the things I always did is I always went in, and my job as a chaplain, I came into my commanding officer office and I said, is there anything that I can do for you? She looked at me and she said, Chaplain, we have a problem. We have a young man that was a very happy man. He is one of what is called public affairs officers. He was in an area that I can't speak much about it, but an area that is very difficult. We don't know what he saw there, but we have to take him out. And he is very depressed. He is not happy as he was before. We are afraid that he may take his life. And he's coming in today. His family is going to be at the airport waiting for him. And all very happy. And I don't think that that is the best for him. We thought about it. I prayed with her about it. Then we decided that the two of us were going to go to the airport, ask permission, get in the plane before anyone deplaned, and talk to the individual. We spoke with him. We're able to take him from the plane, not into the main area of the airport, but outside into the tarmac, and taking him to the hospital for a week of debriefing. So you support the people, you support the staff, you support everybody. I remember there also, one time we were processing those that came back from the combat zone. Some of them were not in combat per se. Some of them were in hospitals that we have in Europe. And I saw a woman crying silently. Sat with her. And then I asked, I don't want to force it. I do not want you to do something that you don't want to do. But please, share with me anything that you want to. And with tears in her eyes, she said, you know, I'm a nurse. I was in a hospital. And I remember a young man that came from combat. Everyone knew that he was going to die. He didn't have legs. The two legs had been blown out. Almost even part of his genitals were also blown out. And the only reason why the military flew him out of the combat zone into a hospital in Europe was to allow the family to fly from the United States into that hospital and to be with him and to hold his hands, to kiss him before he died. And then she said to me, Chaplain, he reminded me so much of my brother. And as a chaplain, to be there, to help her process that traumatic event. That's one of the specialties that we have. Dealing with traumatic experiences and helping them debrief is important for them and for their lives. So in the military, yes, chaplaincy is needed, very much so. And just to dispel some of the rumors that people have about war mongering of the military. I have the opportunity to speak with high-ranking officers in the military. And they will tell you this. We prepare for a war, hoping that it will never happen. Because in the military, in wars, there are no winners. Everyone loses. And we are there to support them, to support the soldiers, sailors, airmen, when they come back, as they integrate themselves into life. So, we have reviewed so far healthcare chaplaincy, educational chaplaincy. We have also talked about correctional chaplaincy and military chaplaincy. Let's see what else we have. What other kinds of chaplaincies are there? We have a section of chaplaincy that we in the Seventh-day Adventist Church chaplaincy department call community chaplaincy. It encompasses a great number of areas where we have pastors working as chaplains. For example, one of the most common areas, and there will be classes here also in this program that have to do with law enforcement chaplaincies. I have several friends that are police chaplains. This area of chaplaincy, most of the chaplains involved in this area, they are volunteers. They don't get a salary like the chaplains, most of the chaplains in healthcare, in the military, and other areas. But they fulfill a very special role. And that role is to support the military of our cities. Let me explain that. The military is the one that protects our country. The police are the one that protect our cities. In many countries, they don't have two different forces. They only have one. That's important for you to know. Some people may be totally opposed to the military chaplaincy, but they are okay with the police chaplaincy. They both have similar roles. It's just the area, the military police, and takes care and protects the country. The police and takes care of our cities and inside of our nations. So law enforcement chaplaincy is very important. As I was driving the other day, my phone rings and I have a call from a country in Africa. And it is from one of our chaplains that in his country, he is only one of the two chaplains in that police force. and he is a Seventh-day Adventist pastor that the Seventh-day Adventist Church assigned at the request of the police of the country to be the chaplain there. He is flying to a convention of chaplaincies where we are going to meet, and he will be one of the presenters in the International Association of Police Chaplains Conference. What do they do? There are so many things that you can do as a police chaplain. Just briefly, and I will not go into details there are a good number of policemen that in their work as police chaplains, they get killed. So our chaplains are called to perform those funerals. Our chaplains are called to support the families. Many chaplains ride with the police as they go patrolling the areas. Can you imagine, and I have seen this, when the pastor of one of our churches is the chaplain of that police force? I'll tell you what happened. Saturdays, you could hear the radio of the policemen talking to each other. The chaplain's church is going to finish services at 12:30. Who is going to be there? Oh, I'm coming, and I'm also coming. So when the members of the church begin to leave the church, there is a police car in each corner of the street directing traffic for the church members as they leave the church, protecting our own church, providing spiritual care. That is extremely important. Emergency services. We have chaplains and emergency services. That is chaplains with the fire department, with ambulance, with rescue. It is extremely important. Many years ago, there was a really bad accident. An airplane landing in Love Field in Dallas crashed in the tarmac. And there was dead people all over the place. Emergency services came in, ambulances came in from all over the place. The story is told about one of the chaplains that was helping the members there of the emergency services. And he was told, you have to go to that corner over there, next to that wreckage. We have one of our nurses, one of our paramedics that is taking care and rescuing people. You need to help him. When he went there, he found these men walking around with the arm of a little baby under his arm and saying, I need to find the baby. I need to find the baby that this arm belongs to. He was in shock. We need chaplains that are trained to be able to be there and help them when they find themselves in those situations. We need chaplains that are not there, chaplains that are back in the firehouses and waiting for the chaplains that were there to come back to debrief them also, because they have seen things. So we do need chaplains in emergency services, and we need chaplains in every other aspect of our world in what we do.